Congress party is all set to launch a nationwide crowdfunding campaign, Donate for Desh, tomorrow to generate resources for the party ahead of the 2024 Lok Sabha elections. Now, the BJP has hit out at the opposition party, alleging that it is another attempt to siphon off public money and enrich the Gandhi family. The BJP has pointed to the recent record cash that was seized by the Income Tax Department from the properties of Congress MP Dheeraj Sahu. Congress has, however, said that this crowdfunding initiative was inspired by Mahatma Gandhi's historic Tilak Swaraj Fund, which was launched more than 100 years ago, and that Indians above the age of 18 can donate rupees 138 to rupees 13,800 to the campaign. 138 because the party has been in existence for 138 years now. Congress has also said that it aims to empower the party in creating an India that is rich in equal resource distribution and opportunities. Now, the BJP recently declared donations of rupees 719.83 crore from donors in 2022-23, marking a rise of 17% from last year, according to the party's annual contribution report published by the ECI. Donations to Congress, however, has dwindled to rupees 79 crore from rupees 95.5 crore in 2021-22. Remember, this amount of donations declared, however, does not include the amount that the party would have received under electoral bond scheme, which is exempt from disclosure requirements. So is the Congress party's inability to win also resulting in donors moving away from it? And how difficult will it be for the party to convince people to donate to its coffers when it is losing state after state? And is this also an attempt to build ground support for the party, mobilize its workers and also its supporters? That is what we are discussing tonight. We have with us Siddharth Yadav from the BJP, Mahima Singh from the Congress, and Amitabh Tiwari, who is a political analyst. Ms. Singh, you're from the Congress, and I would like to ask you this: so this crowdfunding, is this a strategy to mobilize grassroots support and, strengthen your organization? Because that is being seen as one of the major weaknesses of the party. But, more importantly, how will the party convince its voters, particularly in Hindi-speaking states, to donate, specifically after its recent defeats?
Jai Hind. Vasudha, from a flawed democracy to an electoral autocracy, that is where the BJP has brought our dear country globally. You see, there are reports after reports being published globally which publicly claim that India has, from flawed democracy, has now become, for the last 2 years, an electoral autocracy under the Modi government. And I would like to remind that having, duped our countrymen of around 32,000 crores of their hard-earned money in the name of the pandemic by way of PM Cares Fund, having imposed upon our countrymen something like electoral bonds, each and every institution was forced into it, the electoral bonds. And please do remember Mr. Urjit Patel's letter that was written at that point in time, detesting that opaque scheme which was being imposed upon, and then thereafter he resigned from the RBI. So what we are living in today are dire times. What we are facing today is the monopoly of the ruling party on the entire political discourse in our country, wherein you see the government says that the citizens of India don't have any right to information with respect to the electoral bonds. They submit before the Supreme Court saying that, you see, we can know that who will donate to which party. But the citizens of India have no right to know who is donating to which party under the opaque imposed electoral bonds scheme that has been imposed upon our countrymen. So in such times, what do? You go back to the core of your very culture, and the Congress is made up of, I would say our core is made up of steel, and we are rock solid there when it comes to mobilizing our people. And I think that is how we got rid of the British Raj. That is how we'll get rid of the BJP Raj, because you have to remember, even during the debacle that we faced recently, we have still scored 10.5 lakh more votes than the BJP. So our cadre is not going anywhere. And I think when you will see this, spectacular scheme unfold itself, you will see that, how democracy prevails over autocracy and malicious
Right.
intentions like that of the BJPs.
Right. Mr. Yadav, that's an important point that Ms. Singh is making. Many Congress people have also said that the BJP is garnering a majority of the electoral bonds and the scheme is designed to favor the ruling party. Of course, these are allegations. How would you respond to that, sir?
No, first of all, I think it has become a fashion for everybody in the opposition, especially the troops of the Rahul Gandhi Sena, to come out and abuse India and the electoral setup of our country. Calling our country an autocracy, I think, should not be done by any serious political party which goes to the people, asks for their vote. If the people are not voting for you, don't start abusing them. We have seen your leaders call them Rakshas, we have seen your leaders call them everything, but if it is it is a matter of introspection that you should ask yourself why the people are not voting for. Now, I think when it comes down to this scheme particularly, Congress party doesn't really need any such scheme. They have, their ATM states wherever they win. Telangana is their recent one, Karnataka, Himachal, wherever Congress government is there, we have seen the rampant corruption. The chief ministers only stay the chief minister for 5 years, only if they promise that the briefcases are going to reach the Janpath Road. And one family is, if obliged, then only the political future of such leaders exist. When such a situation, one party, when depends on such a situation and is grooming in such a situation, I think all such schemes are nothing more than an eyewash. For people to make another propaganda or to make another narrative that we need money. After all, Rajiv Gandhi Foundation is yet the richest NGO this country has ever seen. The top two leaders are out on bail on the National Herald case, the National Herald properties. We all know how much money they have, yet their MPs are getting 350, 400 crores cash in their houses. Congress party doesn't need a penny. I think I'll again reiterate my point. It is just
Right.
an eyewash when they want to try to prove that we need certain amount of money. And I think after all of this, if at all electoral bonds are to be questioned, it is already going on in the
Allow me to
Supreme Court.
respond
Yes.
here,
Nobody is
Vasudha.
asking, nobody is
Allow me a
stopping
response here.
Congress
Yes.
party to take any electoral bond from anybody. Today
Ms.
you
Singh,
are
I
in
will just
opposition,
come to you,
tomorrow
but let me
will
just
be
get
in
No,
power.
Mr.
just
Tiwari
allow
on
me a
this.
brief intervention,
Mr.
brief
Tiwari,
intervention here.
Ms. Singh, I'm just coming to you next. Mr. Tiwari, this point that Mr. Yadav is talking about, BJP has also made corruption a main pitch of its campaign, corruption allegations against Congress. And we also saw people seen as resourceful like Kamal Nath or Mr. Baghel failing to get voters on their side. So help me understand this. Is crowdfunding a strategy by the Congress or is it a compulsion?
So, see, first of all, we need to understand that money does not win elections. If that was the case, then Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh, both Congress was in power and it had the sufficient resources to win the elections. If that was the case, all the corporate honchos would have been MLAs and MPs in India. So that's number one. Number two, the Congress party has been saying for quite a long time, and it is evident also in the electoral bonds numbers, as you've shown, that they have not been receiving a significant chunk of the overall corporate donations. Of course, it's not in power, so it is very realistic that the corporates may not be willing to uh, provide donations to it. So it has gone ahead with this crowdfunding thing. Now, this crowdfunding thing essentially has three or four undertones. One is that it will help the Congress party show that it has a transparent funding. Of course, it will help that to raise some resources for elections and which will be used for election campaign management. It also gives the supporters a sense of belongingness because
Yeah.
the supporters then get a piece of the cake, you can say, in the
Right.
party's activity or the vision. However, as somebody wrote recently, the party is talking to the converted. So
Right.
if it is able to get donations only from the converted or the supporters and voters who are already voting for the party, that might not make a big difference unless it is able to get donations or support from the swing or the neutral voters. So that's going to be the main issue. How
Right.
the Congress party presents a vision and is able to draw the neutral or the swing voter towards it and even fund its campaign,
Right.
then that's a big achievement. But that looks like a tall ask as of now.
That's a very interesting point, because Mr. Pratap Bhanu Mehta had written about how Congress was probably just speaking to the converted. Ms. Singh, would you like to respond to that? Because recently we also saw huge amount of cash being seized from Congress MP Dheeraj Sahu, and that became quite a political issue. Do you think that the party might also face difficulties in convincing people to donate to the Congress, especially after all these allegations of corruption?
Before I respond to your question, Vasudha, I have a twofold question for the BJP spokesperson, which I was raising my hand for already. And I think it would be imminent to seek an answer to that. The twofold question is that you see the PM Cares Fund, wherein 32,000 crore was nearly donated by the people of India during the pandemic, in the name of the pandemic, was registered under the Delhi Revenue Department, is chaired by the Prime Minister, has more than couple of ministers as its trustees, yet the government said that it will not be covered under the RTI Act, and no information can be provided under the RTI pertaining to the PM Cares Fund, and that it is a private fund. Will the BJP spokesperson answer to that and tell us how is that fair towards our countrymen? Secondly, you see electoral bonds. The secrecy and opacity of the electoral bonds is not hidden from anybody. So the question today stands that when they say before the Supreme Court that nobody can be answered, nobody can question regarding the donors under that electoral bond scheme, the secretive electoral bond scheme, the question stands, open for everybody. That how does the ruling party have the right to know, and no other party, no other political entity, and we know, I reminded how Urjit Patel resigned around that secrecy and opacity. How is it that you claim elections to be free and fair when the ruling party alone can know the whereabouts and about the identities of the donors under the electoral bond schemes,
right?
But no other party will know that. If you can answer those two questions,
Mr. Yadav, would you like to respond to that? Because that's an important question that she is raising. Of course, all of these allegations. Also, the Congress is also saying that they need money to fight the organizational capacity of the BJP. So clearly, there could also not be anything wrong with that, right? So how do you see the crowdfunding
gap, Vasudha? There is a 55% gap. 55% of the total.
Mr. Yadav, would you like to respond to that?
Have been received by the BJP. 5,207 crores.
Was asking.
Yes, Mr. Yadav.
I'm asking you, Ms. Singh. Definitely. First of all, the PM Cares Fund that she's talking about, all of us know that it is chaired by the Prime Minister of our country. The members are the cabinet ministers of our country. No individual. Tomorrow you become the Prime Minister, you chair that. The nature of that organization is that it is an NGO, not a government body. Since it was established now I'm answering you, Mrs.
Yeah,
you don't want to listen to me, then don't ask me a question.
Ms. Singh, let him answer first. Let him answer first.
The government said it is a private fund. How?
Now, it is, since it was established under an act, which it does not comprise it to be a government body, rather to be a non-governmental organization, it is not covered under the RTI. But who says so? It is not anybody's personal property. It is not like Rajiv Gandhi Trust, headed by only Sonia Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi. It is not like Congress Party, only headed by one family.
Okay, this is a larger debate. I'm running out of time. Mr. Tiwari, I was looking for precedents to something like this, and I saw RSS workers also had carried out this massive crowdsourcing campaign for Ram Temple, and this door-to-door outreach that happened was also seen as one way of spreading the message and the ideology of the organization. Do you think that the Congress could also be taking a cue from there, and like you said, this could also help instill the sense of belonging, or I would say political ownership, to the Congress support base, which probably the party needs right now?
Yeah, so AAP also used it effectively when it was launched in the 2013 campaign. So, of course, the Congress party will receive some funds. It will try to make a buzz around the campaign, but it all depends upon the efficacy of the Congress party to create a buzz around this theme, because they've called it Donate for Desh and not Donate for Congress party as such. Correct. So it is again linked to their India bloc, the naming of the alliance as the India bloc. However, the challenge again remains that how will they convince the people who are outside of the Congress core vote bank to support the party in these challenging times, because after the results of the Hindi heartland states, even the core supporters of the party are pretty wary of the Congress or the India bloc coming out and performing decently in the Lok Sabha elections.
Right. So, a big crowdsourcing campaign by the Congress
Vasudha,
to be
before
launched
you
tomorrow.
close, I have a remark to make. Before you close, you see,
Yes.
when the world applauds Mr. Modi, the BJP goes back and you see hails the world. But when the world says that India has gone from flawed democracy
No,
to
you just
electoral
want to, you
autocracy,
want to
these
only look
very
at
hypocritic
obstacles
Yes.
where
people
India
So
is
we'll
being
take this
say that
offline
you
some
are
other
only
day.
listening
Thank
to
you
the
so much,
world.
Ms. Singh.
This
Thank you,
is the
Mr.
clothing
Yadav.
you
Thank you,
want
Mr.
to make,
Tiwari,
Mrs.
for
Singh.
joining us.